Hi there, this is Rene Rubicava with AutoNet, and today we're going to take a quick look at one of the new features that was introduced in ArcGIS Online recently. So here's a blog post on all the new features introduced in ArcGIS Online. I'll link it in the notes for the video, but you should go ahead and check this out. It's got a lot of really cool stuff laid out in here. Point cloud layer using the scene viewer, new drawing styles. There's a new smart mapping tool inside the scene viewer that you can use, and a bunch of really cool updates. However, the one at the very top, the first one listed, is introducing Arcade. So let's check out Arcade real quick. If you follow the links in here, you're going to find a link from the blog post out to the Arcade documentation, and we're at version 1.0.0, right? And Arcade is basically an expression language.
Okay, so just interrupt real quick. I just want to get across that I like to think of Arcade expressions similar to Python and VBScript that you would have used in, say, ArcMap to do custom labeling. And however, something like Python or VBScript wouldn't be able to be understood across the entire platform, like in the JavaScript API or something. So the Arcade expressions are portable. They're understood everywhere, which is pretty useful. So that's the way I like to think of it. Don't know if it's a great metaphor, but I like it. Thanks.
So let's take a quick look at the Hello World here. And really neat thing with Arcade is that when you are talking about accessing features and data, this little $ feature, that is how you get to the data. There's no feature.attributes or having to try and find attribute data from a feature, anything like that. It's just automatically available to you. And you can just do stuff with it and create brand new values. It talks about the implicit returns and stuff, basically saying that you can write return explicitly when you create an expression, or you can just write it without it. The last statement of a expression will be returned no matter what, so that just writing sum at the end here is going to return this sum that was created here. It also talks about the profiles and stuff. Basically, it can be used right now for visualizations and for labeling. So I'm not going to go over all this, the Arcade documentation, but I recommend you go and check it out. It's pretty cool. There's a lot of really neat stuff happening in here. Let's go ahead and check this out in the MapViewer, where Arcade's been added. So I found this item that someone had here. Let me close one of the MapViewer. I've got this item here that I found in online. So I'm just going to go ahead and open this in MapViewer. Let's get to a new map. Okay, so let's go and take a look at how we can use an expression on this data set of counties in the United States. So I want to go into the smart mapping tools to change symbology, but basically when you go to the bottom of the list of available fields, you have this new option down here called New Expression. So you're going to list out the fields that we have available to us. Remember I said before, you don't need to go and access the attributes of a feature. $sign feature is basically going to give you direct access to the field values. And we're going to want to do something with this information here. Now, right when you get in here, this little scripting area is going to give you a sample here where you can round out to find the percentage of males by taking the male population, dividing it by total population, multiply it by 100, and round it up to 2 decimal places. All right, so we're going to do something pretty similar. Let's go ahead and use round. And maybe we want to find the difference between population in 2012 to 2010. Now, admittedly, that's not going to be a huge difference, I don't believe. So if we take 2012, divide that by 2010, we can run a test here, and the results ones, because I'm rounding. Let's round it to 2 decimal places. All right, so 1.01. Okay, so I can live with that. That's fine. Click OK, and let the expression go do its thing. Notice that my legend here just calls it custom. That's because I forgot to name my expression. You want to get in the habit when you create the expressions to name it. So I'm just going to call this population change. I don't need to get too specific. Save it, click OK, and then the name of my expression is called population change. That will show up in the legend over here. So okay, this isn't really showing me too much. There's a lot. Everything seems to fall right in the 1.04 range or so. So let's go ahead and we can play around with this here. The average is 1.01. So let's just bump this up to the average. Okay, so now that's telling a bit more of a story. Like I said, there wasn't really much of a change from the 2012 to 2010. We had 0.8, so 80% to roughly 110% difference. I'm sorry, like a 10% increase to around 20% decrease, it looks like, in counties and population numbers. So, okay, that's cool. So we can do that. So now we've saved that. And I can go and add another expression in here. So maybe we're going to steal something from that is showing us here. So we're given a sample here of percentage of males, right? So maybe we are selling beer, and we're interested in finding the percentage of people, the beer drinking age that we're interested in, that can go ahead and buy our beer. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to round out the totals here. And actually, maybe we'll try something different. We've used round. Round's pretty good most of the time because it's going to give you some nice, make sure the numbers are good. Let's take average. We're going to take the average of people that are 20 and 20 to 24, 25 to 34, and 35 to 44. Those are our beer drinkers that we're interested in. Now we're going to round it out because we're going to go ahead and we're going to say divide that number by the total population. So this is for 2012. All right, and we're going to multiply that times 100. Go to 2 decimal places. Let's test this out. All right, so we have a nice little result there. Click OK. And again, I did not give it a name, so let me go back in here. Let me give it a name. I can call this potential beer drinkers. I know in a lot of states it's supposed to be 21 and over. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure 20 is good enough. So, okay, so that doesn't change our numbers here. So again, we can come in here to the options. I got to redo my size here again, and I think the average is 11. So it's there we go. So we started bumping that number up. That's gonna be too high. So let's bring this number down. Potential beer drinkers here. Actually, I don't think I should have done times 100. So 25%. Maybe 25% is kind of where I'm at. So I'm looking for, right? And the average is 11%. I should have put the percentage in there. So okay, so now that's telling me a bit more of a story. So okay, but you get the idea. The idea here is that when I'm creating this expression, I'm actually creating new data dynamically. So in this case, I'm creating a field, essentially dynamically adding a field to my data set. This is basically the kind of stuff that you would normally have to go through the attribute table. You'd add a new field, you'd calculate that field, hope that you did it right. If you didn't, you recalculate the field. Maybe you have to delete a field, create a new field. Get pretty cumbersome. Being able to use arcade expressions to do all this stuff and to quickly just explore your data using the existing smart mapping tools is a great way for you to be able to create these new experiences of displaying data in your map. And I'm sure someone with a lot more cartographic sense can come up with better ways to be able to display different data in here and be able to explore it. And I didn't even go through and add any geo enrichment to this data yet. It already had quite a few nice looking fields for stuff though, so I could probably come in here and do something with household size, total males, females, and really dig in here and do some cool stuff with it and create new data sets in here. But that's Arcade. So check out the blog post, one thing, for all the new stuff that's in the map viewer, and check out the Arcade documentation. And there's a playground in here too that you can play around with Arcade and do some pretty cool stuff with it, and learn a little bit more about it. All right, thank you.